Hey everyone, I'm Micah, and for this week's discussion board, we're going to be talking about the importance of having and using standard operating procedures. And so for the accident, I picked it was a corporate accident. It was the company was International Jet Charter Incorporated. It was a Learjet 35A. The tail sign was 182 kilo. They were flying into Gratone, New London, in Gratone, Connecticut, and so the aircraft. So I'll start off with the weather. The weather was reported at 100 feet, overcast for the ceilings with 2 statute miles visibility. So really low ceilings. The aircraft. So they were flying the ILS to the runway at Gratone, and they descended too low. And impacted the water and also the lights that were right before the runway. And so the accident report, said that the crew did brief the approach. They made call outs until 200 feet before the decision height, where they would have to do the missed approach. They reported ground contact, so they could keep going to land, but then they stopped the altitude callouts though. And so the importance of procedures on this accident. So again, they did brief the approach. They also briefed the missed approach if they weren't able to find the runway with the weather. They made all the proper callouts until 200 feet until decision height. They made ground contact so they could see the lights and the runway. And so after that point, they did not maintain the altitude callouts after that point. Yeah, they didn't maintain the altitude callouts. The lack of the callouts caused them to descend too low because they weren't, keeping up with their altitude. And so they impacted the water and the lights. They did realize that they were going too low, but by the time they put in the power and tried to recover from it, they had already the lag for the power to actually come in and be useful was too late before they actually impacted the water, and so there wasn't enough time for the plane to recover before they did descend into the water. So the big thing here was that they did start off with the procedures, but they didn't really maintain that, and so making sure that if they would have, possibly if they would have kept the altitude callouts, then the accident might not have happened, at least. So for us, as with the company in the flight department, we need to make sure that we are using and continuously following the standard operations. And so this will help us not have an accident or an incident. So if something goes wrong, standards procedures will make sure that something or everything is done and done correctly. So when something goes wrong and chaos kind of starts to form, if we follow a standard way that we have always done it, then it increases the likelihood of the flight being successful rather than just kind of doing random things at different times. Everyone is then following the same procedures, and so also reduce miscommunication and make the action smoother because the captain and the first officer both know what to do, and so they don't accidentally do something that might contradict each other. And then it also reduces confusion between people, which will increase the likelihood of a successful and safe flight. So standard practices and procedures are super important, making sure we keep following them, even, using the accident as an example, even after we make contact. So even though we think the flight might be possibly over, we need to make sure we keep going on those procedures because it could save our lives. So thank you.